All right, let's dive into a really powerful and honestly a pretty unsettling idea. We're going to explore it through a kind of parable, a profound warning for our times. We're talking about the peril of the last man. And this isn't just some dusty old philosophical concept. It's a vision of what humanity could become, and it's one we really need to understand.
So our whole story kicks off with this cryptic line from Nietzsche's Zarathustra. What does that even mean? Well, it suggests that humanity isn't the final product. We're not the destination. We're a bridge, an evolutionary bridge, not of biology, but of spirit. The whole point isn't to arrive somewhere, it's to always be crossing. And that crossing, it requires a downgoing, which isn't just about decay, it's about having the courage to descend into ourselves to overcome our own limits. This idea sets the stage for a massive choice.
Okay, so picture this. A world where all the old rules, all the old certainties are just gone. The grand stories, the divine plans, that huge sun that once gave life its meaning, it's set for good. This is the world where our story takes place. It's a landscape wrapped in this heavy fog of comfortable nihilism, where the death of God isn't some rallying cry to create new values, but more of an excuse to just stop trying.
Our guide on this journey is a wanderer, and he's standing way up high on this lonely, frozen peak. And this perspective is absolutely crucial. From up here, in the tough, thin air where you have to strive for every breath, he looks down into a valley. And this valley, it's not dark. It's filled with this soft, blinking, shallow light. You know, the light of small comforts, of easy living, of a community that's traded the brilliant, distant stars for some familiar, boring streetlights.
And down in that valley, he sees them, the locals. And they call themselves happy, sure. But what is this happiness, really? It's a kind of contentment that asks absolutely nothing of them. It doesn't require any struggle, no deep passion, no dangerous longing for something more. They've basically domesticated themselves, choosing the warmth and safety of the herd over the wild, risky journey of becoming something greater.
And here's the twist. This comfort, it's not a good thing. It's framed as a kind of sickness. The wanderer sees a world that has totally lost its arrow of desire. And that image is so key. An arrow is meant to be shot, to fly towards something far away. Well, this society has packed its bow and arrow away in the attic. Their desires no longer aim for the horizon, they just circle right back to themselves, only trying to maintain this shallow, superficial peace.
So this person, this creature living in the valley, he has a name. He's called the last man. He is the main character in our cautionary tale. But get this, the last man isn't evil. He's not a villain in the way we usually think of them. No, he's something way more insidious. He's the end point of humanity if we choose comfort over greatness. He is the living embodiment of avoiding risk, the person who has simply stopped trying. So what's the last man's deal? What does he actually believe in? Well, you can see it here. It's basically a creed of smallness. Happiness is all about simple, easy pleasures. Risk, passion, chaos, those are just seen as bugs in the system, things to be avoided. Individuality gets sanded down, everyone wants the same stuff, which makes society nice and predictable. Big ideas, epic struggles, they get shrunk down, made trivial. And their concept of equality? It's not about an equal chance to climb high. Nope, it's about an equal and passive agreement that no one should even try to climb in the first place.
This quote just nails the immense social pressure. In the city of the last man, wanting something different, feeling that frenzy or being struck by the lightning of a great idea, that's not celebrated, it's feared. It's treated like a disease that threatens the quiet, stagnant peace of the herd. Here, the biggest virtue you can have is to be just like everyone else.
And look, this isn't just about complaining that life has gotten boring. The stakes are way higher than that. The source presents this stagnation as the single biggest threat humanity faces. Remember that whole idea of humanity being a bridge? Well, the last man refuses to cross it. He forgets that our purpose is to be a passage to something greater, not the final stop. By standing still, he threatens to bring the whole structure crashing down.
This chart just lays it all out, black and white. You've got two paths, two ways to be. On one side, you have the striving self, the one who fires that arrow, who gets that chaos and struggle are the price of admission for creating anything new. This is the person who acts as a bridge to a better future. And on the other side, the last man. He just wants peace, he just aims to be comfortable. He's not a bridge to the future, he is its grave.
So it all boils down to this one crucial idea. This is the core teaching the last man has thrown out completely. To surpass, to overcome, to overgo the self, this is presented as the very meaning of being human. It's this grand project of reaching for the Superman or Übermensch, this ideal of a self-mastered creator of new values. The last man just looks at himself and says, this is good enough. And in that one moment, the entire project of humanity just grinds to a halt.
I want you to imagine a rope dancer, standing on a thin rope stretched over a massive abyss. The journey is terrifying, it's dangerous, but it is the only way forward. The last man walks up to the rope, takes one look at the abyss, and just turns around. He refuses the perilous crossing. He picks the safety of the starting platform, and in doing so, he lets himself be swallowed by what the parable calls the beast of mediocrity. But why? What's going on inside his head that lets this happen? It's not just about being lazy, it's a deep spiritual condition, the end of all longing, and it all stems from one specific failure, the inability to despise oneself.
Okay, I know, self-contempt sounds pretty harsh, right? But let's reframe it. Think of it more as a divine dissatisfaction. This feeling is the engine for all growth. It's the artist looking at their masterpiece and knowing, I can do better. It's the athlete seeing the tiny flaws in their form. It's the ability to look at yourself honestly, see your imperfections, and feel this powerful drive, a healthy contempt for your own limits, that just forces you to get better.
And this is Zarathustra's most brutal takedown. Why is the last man the most despicable? It's not because he's flawed. Hey, we're all flawed. He's despicable because he has lost the ability to even see his flaws. He's so perfectly content, so stuck in his self-satisfaction that the very engine of growth has just seized up. He looks in the mirror and feels nothing but a calm, blinking, empty approval. So what's the end game here? A life that's safe, yes, but completely and utterly empty. The soul just becomes a vacuum. Without that friction of dissatisfaction, there's no meaning. That fundamental drive to grow, to create, to master your own destiny, what Nietzsche called the will to power, it's just extinguished. All that's left is the hollow, boring routine of a comfortable, meaningless life.
And this is the moment where the parable stops being some philosophical observation and becomes a direct personal challenge to you. This story isn't just about some imaginary future society. It's about a choice that every single one of us faces every single day. The choice between the comfort of the herd down in the valley and the difficult, lonely path up to the heights.
So imagine this. In your absolute loneliest moment, a demon appears. And it asks you this one question. This life you are living right now, with all its routines and its small comforts, would you be happy to live it again and again and again for all eternity with absolutely nothing ever changing? This question, it's a test. It's a great weight designed to crush the weak but to empower the strong. So how does the last man answer? He doesn't even hesitate. He just blinks his content little eyes and says, yes, of course he would. A life with no risk, no pain, no great sorrow, just predictable little joys? Sign me up for eternity. For him, this isn't a horrifying curse. It's the ultimate prize. But how would you answer? Does that thought fill you with joy or with a deep, chilling dread? And that brings us to the alternative. The source gives us this beautiful, poetic piece of wisdom. Creation, beauty, greatness, the dancing star, it's not born from peace and quiet and order. It's born from inner chaos, from struggle, from tension, from that divine dissatisfaction we talked about. You have to embrace the turmoil inside yourself if you want to create anything worthwhile, and that includes a meaningful life.
So we end here, right on the edge of the cliff. The sun is rising on the heights, while down in the valley, the herd is stirring, getting ready for another day of the same old routines. The path of the rope dancer is dangerous for sure, but it is the only way to avoid becoming the grave of the future. The choice, this parable tells us, is ours. The herd or the heights, comfort or creation, the last man or the first step towards something more. What will you choose?